Beautiful hot day in early August 2001, Church Street, Redford, New York. We're right in the thriving metropolis. I'm here today. Thank God there's a nice breeze blowing through the house of Mr. Roy Hurd. Pancho, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
We just said we've both been around here for a long time. Me about twice as long as you have, because I'm twice as old, and our paths have never crossed. But I think it's about time, don't you?
Well, I'm glad it finally happened.
And let me tell our audience how we finally got here and why. We did a wonderful show with our good friend John Fadden at the Six Nations Indian Museum in Anchiota, and he sent me an email saying, I was just talking with Roy Hurd, and how about it? Since, you were kind of a protege of his when you were a young guy, and he said, would you like to do a program with Pancho? And I said, sure, and here we are.
That's great. Yeah.
You've known him for a long time, too.
John was my 8th grade art teacher, homeroom teacher in Adirondack Central. Great man.
He taught there for, 30-some years, and so, he's a very humble guy, but he's also very eloquent, and when you stop to think about it, he's touched thousands of lives. Over the years.
And, of course, with his museum, doing the museum thing, but with his art is international, in many children's books and Native American books. He's a great artist. He even designed one of my tattoos.
Did he really? Which one?
This one.
I
it's
love
a
it.
Back-footed with black bear, and the heel has a little pond called Bear Pond I go to. That's kind of my church.
Yeah.
It's got the mountains and the moon. And this is an old Iroquoian design.
Wow.
My exterior decoration.
On the good hand, huh? I love it. So he did inspire you as a youngster. Do you have any memories about what it was like to go to school with him?
I just always enjoyed his artwork, and he was very patient with people. He did have this large ring that occasionally, if you weren't doing what you're supposed to be doing, you would feel this on the top of your head. I think I still actually have, if you want to. No, he probably. Yeah. But no, he's just, more so in later years when I reconnected with Ray and John and Ray took me in and felt that the path that I was on was worth, guidance, and they really helped me understand more about connecting with the natural world, and I used to talk about, I still sing about those kind of things, and that enriched that, plus the spiritual path of being closer to the earth and worshiping the Creator through the
Obviously
creation.
Not a bad path to take.
No, it's wonderful, and the Fadden family have been, I wouldn't be the same person I am now if it wasn't for them.
Everybody chooses a different way to relax, and many people are into meditation, and some people take a walk in the woods. This is a wild and crazy world we live in. Right. And if you don't have a way to escape, you better find one. That's what I tell people every day.
You have to find the places that fill you back up, When I'm in Nashville writing songs all the time and doing that creative, competitive music business thing, I have to come home. And Bear Pond's a place I go to. The museum is a place I go to. I come to this house. I was raised in this house. It's my aunt's house. And I come here and find the places that fill you up and heal you. Yeah.
I think most of our viewers know who you are. I'm sure 100% of them do. For those people who may see this at some future time outside this area, let's talk a little bit about your life. You were born in this area and raised right here.
Yes, raised in this house, on this land.
Graduated from Saranac Central School.
1969.
Wow.
Great year.
It was a very good year. I had already been here in the radio business for 8 years by then. So what happened? Let's do a little capsule of your life history. What happened after you left school?
Well, I'd performed in school in a like a high school band. When I got out of school, I performed with Whitey Keys and the Green Mountain Boys. Whitey Keys.
God.
And
I've got
Whitey was
some of the old tapes
from
way back when, and they're so delicious.
Learned a lot about being on stage with Whitey, and just a great guy. Always willing to let people come up and perform, and then I kept writing. I started writing when I was 16. Always dreamed about going to Nashville and trying my hand at that, raised a daughter in between there, and ended up in Nashville, I guess 11 years ago. I've been in Nashville for 11 years, writing songs. I wrote songs for Sony for 4 years and Warner Brothers for the last 7 years.
And you perform a lot when you're up here.
And I perform a lot. I performed a lot. I performed as a solo for 15 years before I moved to Tennessee. And, local clubs. And then I got out of the club scene and did coffee houses and colleges and anywhere they'll let me play out.
So you write songs and you perform songs and you tell stories. When did was the storytelling a part of it from the beginning, or did that come later?
Well, I always love to talk about, and people love to hear about where songs come from, and so I always kind of did a little story kind of thing around introducing a song. But actually, I think the Faddens were, again, back to them guys, were the first people to really make me feel like the path that I was on about singing about the Adirondacks and the natural world, that was really valid. And then listening to them tell stories, and and for some reason, when I hear a story, I know it. So I'm a good thief, basically. So I would take stories.
That's what Jack Benny said. I never had an original line. He stole everything he ever did, and look how big he was.
But started incorporating the storytelling in with the song stuff, and that evolved into doing some school programs. Now I have a school program I've developed over the last 15 years called Walk on the Mountain that I do in targeting fourth graders mostly. It's an Earth Morals presentation, talking about being a caretaker for the natural world rather than a consumer. And I tell stories about Ray and his museum and talk about Iroquois and stuff. And then Adirondack things, some humor, some mountain humor, and I do songs.
Now, do you do the school thing only here or around the country?
No, I do around the country. I do a lot in Tennessee, around the Nashville area.
No kidding.
And also Ohio. I perform in Cleveland on my way back to Nashville, usually at the end of the summer. And there's a school in Paynesville that I started doing a program in. So, semi-national.
What's the reaction to Ohio kids to the songs about the Adirondacks?
Oh, they love it. They love it. It's just natural world. I just tell them where I come from, and that I've come to their school to talk about a different place than they may, know of, but in a different culture, the native culture and the mountain culture. And people are very receptive, very open.
I've found that the word Adirondack is kind of a magic word to people, not only here, but I hear that corporations in Japan want Adirondack performers and storytellers to come over to talk once in a while about.
Give them my number.
I certainly
I'm
will.
there.
But I think the Adirondack has always had a little mystique.
It has mystique, and it's a very wild and free place. A lot of people that come here say there's a wildness, a freeness to it. It's different feeling, different vibe to it. I love it.
So, even though you spend a lot of time in Nashville and some time here, are you a guy who loves to just go up there and find a private place? You said you did. Go out in the woods and just sit there and listen?
Yeah, well, canoeing is probably my favorite
Really?
therapy, if you want to call it that. And I go to this little place I told you, Bear Pond it's kind of my church. When I first get home, because of the Nashville thing being so high pressure and high power, kind of energy, and writing songs and trying to figure out the music business, I get back here, I try to go there first. It actually brings me home. Getting here brings me home because I was raised in this land and played on this land and have a cabin back in the woods that I used to live in the 70s, where only time I had running water was when the mosquitoes and black flies got so thick you had to run to the spring and run home, But I go to Bear Pond and it brings me back, It's that quiet, sacred place where I don't know if you'll understand this or not, but it's a place that it breaks my heart and it heals it at the same time. It does this, opens me up, and I really need that to get back
Maybe
here.
those two things are closer than some of us realize.
Maybe.
When it comes to the things involved with the heart. And it sounds like a real dichotomy that Nashville is the antithesis of Redford, in case you didn't know that. I mean, it's a far different place you go to.
Oh, it's way
So
different.
you felt as though you had to go there to get your message.
Well, being raised on country music like I was, my mom was a singer.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, she sang, not professionally, but she
Yeah.
sang in different places. And my dad was a fiddle player. My real dad was a fiddle player. I didn't know him very well, but and a songwriter also. And I just always thought that Nashville was the place that would embrace my music, if any place. New York and Los Angeles never seemed right, to me to go and live. A lot of people from New York and L.A. are actually moving to Nashville because it's a better place to raise their children. It's more sane and slower, but it's way different than Redford. Yeah.
It's okay
I
to
love
look
it.
for...
I love this town. I love this little town. It's
Well, we love all the little towns in the North Country. We spend a lot of time talking about towns and the people that inhabit these great towns in the North Country. Once you have lived here, it's something you have to talk about, and it's something you always have to come back to. We're going to continue our interview with Roy Hurd in just a moment. Okay, now we're sure we got something on the tape and we can proceed. I'd love to hear a song and then talk some more. What would you like to do for us?
Well, we were just talking about this new song I just finished. I could do that. It's a new song. I've been spending time with a wonderful woman from Chazy Lake, New York.
Oh, right.
And, you know, the water's really cold in Chazy Lake. And I asked her why, and she said, well, the ice never really thaws on Chazy Lake. It just drops to the bottom for the summer and then comes back up in the winter.
You're a storyteller, all right.
That's what she said.
I love it. Do it.
And her name is Mary Jean, and she was talking about how much she loves the lake, and she calls it her lake. Of course, I call this my mountains. You know, these are my mountains, in case anybody wants to know. And she talked about how loving her family and Irish and French descent. You know, like a lot of us. My grandma was French Indian, my grandfather was Irish, and they raised me in this house here. Just the love that she has for the mountains was very similar and very much in line with mine. So I was inspired by her words to put this song together for her. Lake water mirrors the blue mountain sky. Trees sway soft as the wind rushes by. She stands on the shoreline as it all brings tears to her eyes. She just starts singing an old Irish tune. Her voice sweetly blends with the song of the loon. Dragonflies dance all around her, they love what they hear. How much beauty can one heart take, sings the lady of the lake. In the cradle of the mountain, away from the world, the lake called her name back when she was a girl. And with the sound of the water all around her, her heart found its home. Oh, life can be beautiful and life can be strange. She knows in one moment everything can change. She writes down her wishes for love and patiently waits. The lady of the lake. With a blanket around her, she'll dance on a clear night in June. Just like the water, she moves to the pull of the moon. She's her mama's French beauty, she's her daddy's wild Irish rose. And she'll dance till the dawn gently breaks, the lady of the lake. Oh, in the cradle of the mountain, away from the world, oh, the lake called her name back when she was a girl. And with the sound of the water all around her, her heart found its home. Oh, life can be beautiful and life can be strange, and she knows in one moment everything can change. She writes down her wishes for love and patiently waits. The lady of the lake. Oh, lady, lady of the lake. Lady of the lake.
See how good music can sound with acoustic guitars and a pure voice unaccompanied by all kinds of wires and amplification. With a little, we just got a tremendous gust of wind, about 15 miles an hour at the end, with the chimes on the porch. That's a beautiful song.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. It's brand new.
You keep it up, and I'm going to cry. I'm very sensitive to beautiful music.
Thank you.
I attended a funeral a few weeks ago in Saranac. It's a beautiful old church up there. And I was fine until they started singing the old hymns. I can get through one verse, and the second verse is overwhelming because of my background. Music is so powerful.
My friend Tom Porter, who is a Bear Clan Mohawk, helps me. He says he teaches me things, and he's my good friend. He says music is a medicine for the hearts of the people. Laughter is medicine for the hearts of the people.
It has power to soothe the savage breast, as has been said so many times, you know. A few days ago was the one of the birthdays on August 4th of the late Louis Satchmo Armstrong. And a lot of the public radio stations were playing his music, and for some reason I've been emotionally attached to this man for almost all of my life, and he appeared here in Plattsburgh, and, you know, he was called Ambassador Satch. And he traveled through Europe, and it didn't matter that they didn't know English.
Oh, sure.
It mattered that he sang songs with great passion and emotion.
That's the deal.
And this absolutely incredible song.
Oh, thank you.
That's got to be a huge success.
It'll be on my new. I'm going to do a live recording, and called My Hometown, and that'll be on. I've been recording all my live shows this summer, and hopefully by early winter I'll have a CD with live performance and this song and other things.
It takes a while to get yourself established anywhere. You, as I said a few minutes ago, almost everybody knows who you are here in the North Country. And Nashville, I'm sure you had to find some way to make a big noise. How long did that take you when you went down there?
Well, I actually got signed before I moved there.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I had sent some songs. I was doing some performing in a lot of the local clubs, and also down Troy, Albany area. I met a guy down there, Tom Fish, who was playing some of the same clubs, and he had connected with one of the publishers there, told me about her, said, you should send your stuff. I sent her my stuff. She published one of my songs, and then talked about signing me as a writer, and so I got signed with Sony Music Publishing because she was small, she couldn't afford signing a writer herself and paying. So she hooked up with a bigger company. They did a co-venture, they call it, and so I got signed there. And was there for 4 years and learned a lot, and then signed with Warner Brothers, and it's been wonderful. That's a great company. And yeah, you gotta, I mean, it's very competitive. I try not to do that. I figure if you do what you do and it's supposed to work, it will, and I try to just do my songs.
It's a beautiful attitude. And
well, it's not always able to maintain. I mean, it's a highly competitive market there, and unless you step up to the plate, you're not going to get anything,
Well, it's the reason I mention that, because I'm sure a lot of our viewers have no idea what life is like in Nashville. They might have gone down there, and they might have gone to the Grand Ole Opry and seen a few shows and have visited a few stars' homes and came home. But from the inside, I would just like to have you draw a little more of a picture. Now, once you started with Warner Brothers, do they act as your total agent? Do they do all your bookings?
No, this is not I don't have interest there as an artist. This is totally songwriting.
Oh, okay.
When I was signed there, it was strictly for songwriting, although they support my projects, not financially, but they I put the logo, the Warner Chappell logo on there, and they allow me to record some of my stuff there. But no, not an artist. I got strictly signed as a staff writer. And when you're signed as a staff writer, basically I write songs. I write a lot by myself, but Nashville is very big on co-writing, so you get together with a couple other people. They'll put you together with someone from another company or a successful writer or an artist. The success that I've had mostly is writing with younger artists. Artists that have record companies behind them, labels like Paul Brandt. I had a song on Paul Brandt on his first album that was on the radio. Went 35, not as high as we wanted it to, but I got a gold record from that, being on that
Wonderful.
record. Got a double platinum from Canada on that record.
No kidding.
Yeah, so that was nice.
That's big time, in case you don't know.
I
it,
don't.
folks.
It's
Wow.
good. It's good. So what happens anyways with the songwriting thing is I write the songs. bring them to my company. We go over, say, 10 songs. They may say, well, these 5 are very cool. We can run with these. These other 5, I'm not sure of. Let's, listen to some more. Then when we get a group of maybe actually 5 songs that we like or 7 songs, I book the studio, go in and record those things with, the best musicians in the world. And sometimes I get to sing, sometimes I don't.
That's got to be pretty neat
Yeah.
all by itself.
Yeah.
Right?
And then sometimes I'll get a really great demo singers. I actually have tapes with Trisha Yearwood singing some of my songs. Before she was an
Might
artist,
as well start at the top.
before she was an artist, she
Yeah.
was a demo singer. So I could call her up and say, hey, Trisha, I got a demo session on Thursday. Could you come and sing a couple songs for me? Oh, yeah, man, I'll be there. And now, I can't even get her on the phone, basically. But she's great. Her and I actually wrote a song together one time. But so then we get the songs recorded with these great singers and these great musicians, bring them back to my company, and they hit the streets with them. They play them for artists and managers and producers and all this stuff. I'm actually working right now with a young artist named Rachel Proctor, who I've been writing with Rachel for 7 years. She's 25. She's from West Virginia. She just got a deal at RCA Records. She's going to be huge.
Really?
And so she's going to make me a rich man.
And you'll be part of it. That's the best.
I'm hoping, yeah. But the bottom line is we hooked up because we liked each other's styles, and she was at Warner for a while. She's not anymore, but and she's real loyal. And she says, "Man, you stuck with me from the beginning. You've been there." So her company flew me down 2 weeks ago to write with her for a week. And we wrote 6 songs in 5 days.
Come on.
Yeah.
That's intense.
It was intense. It was an intense week. I loved it. Yeah. Then I come back to the most beautiful place in the world and play music, and life is good.
It sounds to me like you are going down the right road, as you said before.
well,
that
it
path
feels-
is a good one
It
so
feels
far
good.
for you.
It feels good,
I just wanted to get a little flavor of what Nashville is like compared to Redford, New York. Which, is it more satisfying to write a nice song or to sing a nice song?
Oh. Well,
Or is it part
there's
of a package?
there's both things in that. Like the Lady of the Lake that I just played.
Oh,
I was just telling my friend Mary Jean, who I wrote that for. I said, this song for me. I asked her how it felt for her, and of course, she loved it. But for me, that song is a real marriage of melody and lyric and emotion. And that song, I just love singing it because it just feels right.
I've never met her, and I already love her.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
you've portrayed that very nicely.
Well, that's mostly her words, what she said about how much she loves that lake and her family, and she's a wonderful, wonderful lady.
So it is a package, writing
It
and
is a
singing.
package,
Some
yes.
people just sing other people's songs,
Yes, and that's good for somebody like me who can write songs for them,
but you love to do both.
Yes, I love to do both. That's one thing I miss about Nashville is performing, because I perform in Nashville maybe once a month, or mostly I sit in a room and write songs, or go to someone's house and write songs, and because I'm a staff writer, I get paid to write songs, And when I come home, I just play, and I played at the hospital lawn, I played in Jay at the Village Green. It's just beautiful places by little ponds and 200 people on the lawn. Yeah, it's heaven.
We're
It's heaven.
recording this on August 8th, I think it is, today. That's the first time I've ever had the right date. But weren't you at Wilmington over the past weekend?
Yes, they have a large Native American festival there,
How was that?
6 or 7 years in a row. It's great. I usually MC. This year I didn't MC. I opened for the main act, Bill Miller, who is unbelievable. He's a Mohican from Wisconsin, and he's a great guitar player, great singer, just powerful, talking about his life on the reservation and his family. And then I told stories. I got to be a storyteller in my own little tent, and I'd play guitar and tell stories. And it was an honor to be there, being non-native. I have Indian blood in my family. My grandma was French and Indian mixed. My grandfather was Irish. But there's more to being Indian than just having Indian blood. It's a way of perceiving the world and making decisions according to those perceptions. But to be asked to be a part of that every year is an honor.
It's pretty neat. And the only part that grieves me about the whole thing, and this is something that I preach about all the time on this program, sometimes the most valuable of all things that happen are not well enough attended. And I would like to have seen 20,000 people there.
Yeah.
And there weren't quite that many, I
No,
understand.
it was really hot, of course.
Well, I suppose that's a
but
factor.
I think last year we had more people last year than this year. But the people were great. I would rather play for quality crowd than quantity anytime. But the people that go there every year, year after year, are very, very into that thing.
So now, do you have a musical agent that does book you when you're here, or do you
No, I
do
do it
your
all
own?
myself.
You do all your own?
All my
arrangements?
own. I call the people ahead of time, and people have been wonderful to me year after year, getting me to perform in these places and really supporting me.
So the real structure is with Warner Brothers, and you have, what do you have, a contract with them over a certain amount of time?
I have a contract. I actually am not under contract with them at this point. My contract ended June 30th, so I'm open right now. I didn't have any interest in June. I got up here, and then Rachel, like I told you, Rachel Proctor got a record deal, and I went down there to write, and the word got around that she had got a record deal, and she was writing with Roy Hurd, and she loves his songs, and she's going to be huge, and so now I have 5 companies that are talking to me about
Oh,
stuff.
fight them off.
But one or two of the companies are really into what I do as a writer. A couple of them are, they want to cash in on the publishing if Rachel does do great, because it's going to be good money. That's a publishing deal, They pay us to write for them, and then they get the publishing on the songs that we get recorded. So they make their money that way, which is the real world. But I'm excited about a couple of the companies because they really want to sign me because of what I do. And that's the best, because you don't want to sign. I've been with companies where they just don't get what you do, and you fall through the cracks. It rocks your confidence. It's bad.
Well, when
It's
you
bad.
said you go in with 10 songs and they say 5 aren't so good, what if one of those 5s is the best thing you've written in the last 5 years? I don't know how you deal with that.
You gotta just
Suck it up,
not take
right?
not take it personal.
Oh, man.
Like there's certain songs I won't even play for them. I actually.
I love it.
Because it's I played Lady of the Lake for this one publisher down there, and she just loved it. She said, what is a loon? Tell me about that. I don't know that word.
Oh,
It was great.
That's like my granddaughter, when I was going to the Malone Fair last week, said, "Who's Glenn Campbell? Who would want to?"
Yeah.
I said, "You're 21 years old. Forget it."
What a great singer.
What's a loon, huh?
Yeah,
I love
it
it.
was great. But yeah, you got to gear up. You got to have skin really thick with that stuff, and it does hurt your feelings at times when you know the song is great. But I just do this subversive thing where I play things live, and if they, I'm probably going to cut my own throat here, but
No, I love it.
when you're signed with a company, everything you write is under contract. But I say if the company doesn't appreciate that song, they shouldn't own that song. So I play things live. If they don't get it, they say, play what else you got. Then I have it's in my head. I keep that song and I keep it and I record it myself, or and so I keep songs like that. I keep them back, and it's fine. I have songs that they haven't really, but on their defense, they need to put them. They need to have themselves 100% behind a song, and if they don't feel that they can run the streets with that song, there's no sense. They're not going to do it properly anyways.
But,
So they got to have themselves behind the songs.
I understand that completely. It's like playing the stock market, though.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're right and sometimes they're not right.
Yes.
And I love
Oh,
it
yes.
when the big guys are proven wrong.
Yeah. Oh yeah. For
When
sure.
somebody like you writes a song that they care so much about, that they promote it themselves in such a way that it finally makes it big.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I can remember a few million selling songs over the years that companies did not like at first.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I've heard so many
How
stories.
many?
So many stories about
But
that kind of thing.
Once you get one radio station, 2 radio stations, 3 radio stations to play it, then it has a life of its own. you
Yes,
know?
that's what they say. I'm hoping, I got a chance right now for Jody Messina. I have a song on her record, the Burn CD, and they keep saying it's good.
Come on. Do you really?
Yeah. And so they're saying it's good. They said it was going to be the first radio single. Didn't make the first one. Didn't make the second one. Didn't make the third one. Now we're waiting for the fourth. I should, know within a week or so.
Oh,
If that happens, then I'll be an overnight success after 35
Well,
years.
listen, Calvin and I, as you know, would love to interview interesting people from the North Country and go to interesting places. A couple of years ago, or was it last year, we went to Bolt Castle? 2 years ago, went to Bolt Castle up in the Thousand Islands. It's a charming place. The story is a wonderful love story. And all of a sudden, I'm watching television about a month ago, and I saw Jody Messina's new video, and I said,
Burn.
wait a minute, it's called Burn, and look where it was done, right there at Bolt Castle. And I'm connected. I've been going back there for almost 60 years, since I was a very small child. So it's near and dear to me. And after Calvin and I did that wonderful show up there, and I saw that they chose Bolt Castle, as a site for that video. It's a great video.
Yeah, I love it.
So she's what a life that gal has had.
She's great. She's great. And she's from Massachusetts, so that's probably why she got my kind of rhythmic thing, you know.
Isn't it?
She recorded one of the songs that I wrote, and I'm hoping, you know. Again, she's selling really great, and if I got a radio song off that, it would change a lot of things in my
Do you
career.
do a lot of radio interviews or not?
Occasionally, not too many. I go down and hang with Charlie Stone every now and then and play some songs.
Good guy.
But no, you know, the songwriters don't get that kind of stuff unless they're really, really successful. Mostly
The
it's
business
the
has
artists.
changed so tremendously since I started in the radio business in 1961. Artists and promoters and everybody were going to all the radio stations, try to get their music played. Radio interviews were big. It's a whole different aspect. The music is promoted completely different way now than it was when I started in the radio business.
Oh, just in the 11 years I've been in Nashville, things have gotten very different, very different. Radio has a lot of power. They do a lot of surveys on, is this song going to work? It's very competitive. Songwriters that have had track records of hit songs are out of work and can't find another gig, you know, can't find another job. It's all about, you know, what have you done lately? You know, that's the competitive aspect of the music business.
But you know, the best part of being from Redford and going to Nashville, you can always come back.
Come back to home, that's right.
Isn't that neat?
What can you say about home?
How many songs have you written? Do you keep track of the number?
I haven't, no.
No idea? Hundreds, thousands?
Maybe 1,000, maybe I don't know, maybe I'd say hundreds just to be safe. I don't
I
know.
bet it's way more than hundreds, because you started writing, the first song you wrote was how old?
I was 16, I think.
16 years old?
Yeah.
And are you where
I'm
you
20,
are you where you wanted, you know, looking back on this whole thing about Nashville and dreaming about going there, are you where you want to be at this stage in your life? Is there some big door that you'd love to have open next Tuesday?
Career-wise, or
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
emotionally or spiritually, or
Put it all together.
I love what I do. You know, I love to play music for people. I love writing songs that people love to listen to. And career-wise, I'd love to get a call right now, and they say, "Yep, you got the next single on Jody Messina, which will create a wave that I could ride, where I'll get 5 or 6 more songs recorded." And you know,
Because
and
that's the way it happens.
that's the way it happens. Yeah, that would be wonderful. The Jody Messina song is called "Nothing I Can Do." Yeah. And, but just emotionally, I think it's a real good time for me. My daughter is healthy and happy. She just finished college, you know, 4 years of college, and
Come
she's
on.
a beautiful woman.
Finished college.
Yeah. I'm not that old. I had her when I was
About 27.
had her when I was 3. I'm not really that old, is it?
Oh, that's great.
So,
Where did she go to school?
University of Delaware. Yeah. And you know, when your children are healthy and happy, life is good. And she's great. And just you know, I love being here. My aunt is just so good to me. You know, we have a great time hanging together for the summers. And yeah, I just, you know, and spiritually, I just feel, you know, real connected. And
Well, you know, I think there are hopefully, this little television show gives lessons to a few people. When we talked to John Fadden, I know there were lots of lessons. And when we talk to you, I know there'll be lessons. And one of the lessons I found, and I've never become rich or famous, but I've lived around here for a long time and done a lot of things. And I find it just as satisfying to go to Saranac and read one of my children's stories to 24 fourth graders as I would, I'm sure, if I performed in Carnegie Hall
I hear you.
and made a whole bunch of money. Because it's all about how you feel.
Exactly, what you get from that and what you feel like a share, you know.
Yeah.
It's about, in fact, my friend Mary Jean, who I was talking about, she gave me one of your quotes that she had written down, because she's a school teacher, you know, and about having the strength to say something, one good thing that would change someone's life or something. I have it written down, actually. If you want me to grab it, I can.
Oh, no, you don't. I didn't come here to be embarrassed, Roy, you know. Come on.
So my prayer upon rising is thanks for the good health and happiness, and for the strength to come up with a kind word or deed that may make life, what is that? I can't read it. Make life, better for someone else. I don't know exactly.
Isn't that what it's all about?
I got my glasses, but I don't want to put them on.
Isn't that what life is all about?
Oh, that's when I pray for strength and clarity. It's for myself to be strong and clear, but that I can help someone along the way. The same thing,
Every day when my feet
when
hit
she
the
told me
floor.
that, I said, well, that's great. I want to meet this guy.
It's true. I mean, you develop a philosophy, I suppose, whether you like it or not in life. It's because of who you are and where you've been. But this North Country, I think it infuses people who want to open their hearts and souls with a lot of goodness. And people think this is mundane, us going on television and promoting these wonderful little towns and little town people here in northern New York. But I would love to show all of our programs Calvin and I have done and all the ones he's done before that to big city people.
Oh, yeah.
And Calvin and I said that on the way driving to your house today. Many people outside this area just don't get it.
Well, there's part of me that loves that because it keeps it quiet, and it's a well-kept secret here, I love it. The Adirondacks are a well-kept secret. But like you said before, the mystique of it, the mysterious aspect of the Adirondacks. In Nashville, a woman asked me years ago, when I first went there, 20 years ago or so, where are you from? I said, I'm from the Adirondack Mountains. Adirondack? She said, I thought that was pronounced Outer Rondack. It's like some kind of sci-fi place or something.
Oh, isn't that beautiful? I want to hear another song. What would you like to play?
Actually, did you hear the Harley?
I heard it come up. Would you like to bring him in?
I'd love to. Charlie, come on in, man.
All right, let's stop for a minute and bring Charlie in here. Well, it's not just because I have a great-grandson whose name is Harley. But I've always kind of been partial to Harleys, even though I did have a 1946 Indian many years ago.
But you didn't keep it?
I dumped it a few times, and my mother sat me down in the chair one night and said, are you beginning to get a picture here? So I never owned a motorcycle after that, but I love bikes and love to watch them, and I was just telling your friend Charlie about Myrtle Beach and all the Harleys that are there.
Right.
Get over here, Charlie, and say hello. Charlie Plumidor. How you doing, buddy?
Good. Yourself, Gordon?
Oh, this is beautiful. Love your trike.
Oh, I love it. It's the only way to go.
Oh, we were talking with Roy before you got here about some of the nasty things that happened to you in your lifetime.
Yes, sir.
Give us a little background.
Well, when I turned 18 years old, I joined the Marine Corps and went to Vietnam.
Semper Fi.
Yeah, and stepped on a landmine and got blood transfusion and ended up with a bad liver because of hepatitis C.
The word for bad luck, you wouldn't have any at all.
And
right?
it's been pretty much bad, but it's getting better.
So what's happened since then?
Well, 2 years ago they give me a new liver because my liver was shot from the hepatitis C, and then last year they just put a new knee in. So
you got a new knee.
Things are looking up.
I keep telling Charlie that if they keep replacing parts, we're going to have to change his name. It's not going to be him anymore.
Well, thank God they can do those things with
Nowadays,
parts now.
Yes, sir, because I probably wouldn't even want to be around here because I didn't have that much time left.
So what's the status of the liver, the new liver?
It's
good?
doing fantastic. It's doing fantastic. So,
breathing all that North Country air that helps you to be healthy.
Yeah, well, I think being in Florida didn't hurt because they have a lot more transplants going on down there. So
Really?
It didn't hurt at all being down there.
How many times during this whole process have you said, "Oh God, it's not worth it"?
Quite a few, quite a few, because it's been a long, tedious road. I'll tell you.
Well, you're originally from this area, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right here in
Just
Redmond?
across the river.
And where were you in Nam?
I was in Quang Tri, up by the DMZ.
Because in the radio business, I was in the radio business for 100 years, and we spent an awful lot of time talking about the guys and gals who went to Vietnam from here. We followed the so-called North Country platoon.
Yes, sir.
All the way through Camp Lejeune. We were the first small radio station in the United States to send a reporter to Vietnam. He was a great, big, crazy guy by the name of Tiny Hair. He went to Vietnam and interviewed all the people he could find from Clinton County. And he sent back like 300 or 400 interviews. And he was a very brazen guy. We gave him a little reel-to-reel tape recorder and a bag of blank tapes and sent those back. And it's one of the is one of the things in my radio career that I remember the most, to hear these stories from the guys and gals who were in Vietnam. Very, very impressive. It's an experience, some of it I'm sure you'd love to forget.
Oh, yes, sir. We've lost a lot of friends over there.
Yeah, and I lost a lot of friends there, and when that moving Vietnam Wall came through here a few months ago and was on the former Plattsburgh Air Force Base, I don't mind telling you that's one of those moments where Calvin and I were standing right up front in front of God and the whole country, and some of these guys got up and started talking, and I had to hold the microphone way away from my face so people couldn't see me crying, because you can't help it.
Everybody that I've ever talked to said when they see that wall, it's nothing they can do about it.
Just incredible. Yeah, you know, you feel all that emotion coming. That's why people go there and talk to their buddies, right?
That's right. I want to go there on a Harley, because there's a lot of them that go there on their Harleys.
Oh my!
And a lot of them are Vietnam veterans. Well, most of them are Vietnam veterans that go.
Yeah.
So that's what I want to do one day, is do that. And plus, we're going to ride cross country.
Are you still haunted by those memories? Do you still have nightmares?
Not as bad as it was, because it's been 34 years now, so it's gotten better. But
Boy, is it 34 years? Holy mackerel!
getting old.
Oh, I don't even care anymore. 34 years.
Yeah, that's how long it's been since I got wounded. It's 34 years ago.
So it takes a while for the old mind, soul, subconscious mind to deal with all that stuff.
Oh, it does. I still think about it, but it's not as bad as it was back then. It's gotten a lot easier.
Well, when bad things happen, you got a couple of choices. You can either cash it in, or you can become a stronger person because of it. Obviously, you've done pretty well with that baggage, Charlie,
yes, sir.
over the years.
That's
Inspirational.
I'll
And
tell
you
you.
are. People like you are an inspiration. That's why it's great for us to talk to you. I know other people from this general area, a guy like Jimmy Devan.
Yes, sir. Good
Who
friend.
paid, Jimmy paid a pretty big price, didn't he?
Yes, sir. He did.
He lost his
sight.
But he goes to ball games. He's amazing. He goes to the fireworks, goes to hockey, Cardinal hockey.
Oh, he's
Hockey
a
game.
big sports fan. Big sports fan.
He's listening to the radio and sitting there talking to people and talk about inspiration. Guys like that are tremendous inspiration.
He walks every day too. Walks
yeah.
with his dog.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
So yeah, I wanted people to know who you were today, because you're a pretty special guy. And if you got a friend like this over here,
Oh, it's the best right there.
he tries not to lead you astray, right?
Oh, that might be the other way around.
Well, get over here a minute, Roy. You were telling me, since you also like bikes,
I have a Harley myself.
you got a Harley, and you would like to take a trip where with this guy?
We're going to go cross country. I actually have a song I'll play after this about it, but we're going to go. We're going to go from here. I'm going to take, like the song says, take a left out of my driveway, hit that long and lonesome highway. So we're gonna go a couple months across country. Charlie, myself, my friend Carl Ezro, and maybe a couple other people, but the three of us for sure, and just see the beautiful places in this country. And I'm gonna gather inspiration for songs and come back and write a whole new album.
But you know, I'm really sorry that I didn't come up with that line first, because at the end of this program, every time we do one, I say, who knows where we're going to be next time for our little corner. But I should say, if you hadn't had the line first, who knows where we're going to go when we take a left out of our driveway.
That's right. That's a country thing. You never know where you're going to end up with these boys.
I just love it. What do you say we go inside? Oh, I hate to leave this beautiful breeze. Let's go inside, listen to some more music, and just chew the fat a little bit. Okay, Charlie?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We had the best of the outside world, and we met Charlie, and now we're inside, and you said you had a song about it.
Yeah, I'd love to do this song. Charlie and I are talking about taking a trip with our friend Carl Ezro from Peru. Since we were teenagers, watching Then Came Bronson. I don't know if you know.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. We've talked about taking a trip across country. So
Calvin's laughing,
in
too.
a
He's
couple
old
years-
enough to remember this
a couple
stuff.
years we're going to do that, and Charlie's going to get an electric glide. I'm going to get an electric glide, and kind of know what Carl's going to get. But we're going to go across country a month and a half, 2 months, and personally, I'll gather inspiration for songs and see some beautiful places that I would love to see. And you know, you're always meeting people that inspire you, and so we're gonna.
I think you ought to sell the whole thing to National Geographic.
Actually, I'd like to get Harley to give me a bike to do it with, and I'll do concerts across country while we go.
Well,
And
why not?
well, maybe we'll see.
Think about it. That can be done, you know.
Yeah, I think it probably could be.
Never accomplish a
Easier
dream
when you're
until you
successful to walk up to somebody and say, "Well, I'm thinking of doing this. What do you?" But anyways, this is about just about traveling, the love of traveling, you know, and then there's a verse for Charlie in this that he inspired. So it's called "Looking for America." I took a left out of my driveway. I hit that long and lonesome highway. Figured I'd make my way across this land. Slow ride, no hurry, I'll be back, don't you worry. The first song I ever sang was Traveling Man. Freedom never comes without a cost. I pay my dues, oh, but I'm not lost. No, I'm just out here looking for America. She's getting harder and harder to find. In the hearts of common people everywhere, she's alive and doing fine. Hey, I'm just out here looking for America. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, I love that rolling motion, mountain, valley, river, ocean. Gotta go and I get the notion I can't stay still. Colorado, West Virginia, oh, the road can sure get in you. Rode my pony through those Oklahoma hills. I saddle up and just let her run. California, here I come. Oh, I'm just out here looking for America. She's getting harder and harder to find. But in the hearts of common people everywhere, she's alive and doing fine. Oh, and I'm just out here looking for America. Now Charlie, he's a Harley man, live to ride, that's his plan. He took a hit in Vietnam, but he's doing all right. Instead of 2 wheels, he rides 3. His legs ain't what they used to be, but he fought that war for you and me, believing it was right. Standing at that long black wall, silently it says it all. Lord, I'm just out here looking for America. She's getting harder and harder to find. In the hearts of common people everywhere, she's alive and doing fine. Yeah, and I'm just out here looking for America. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Some say things are getting worse. The attitude is me first, and I know this world could die of thirst without love. But I've been in towns from state to state. We can turn it around, it ain't too late. This country is still a great place to live. Well, I've talked with young people all across this land, and I'm telling you the future's in damn good hands. Hey, I'm just out here looking for America. She's getting harder and harder to find. But in the hearts of common people everywhere, she's alive and doing fine. Oh, I'm just out here, I'm looking for America. She's getting harder and harder to find. In the hearts of common people everywhere, she's alive and doing fine. Oh, and I'm just out here, I'm looking for America. America, looking for America.
Take a left out of your driveway, and there it is. Boy, what energy! That song could have been written. Boy, does that sound like 1969 to me?
Yeah, well, that's just drawing from there.
And there are people watching this program who say, "Where does he get that energy when it's 90 degrees in Redford?" It's something to be thankful. Feeling good is something to be thankful for.
Oh, man. Life is good when you're doing what you love.
Well, let's talk just for a moment, because it dawns on me to talk about it now, about creativity and inspiration. How does that happen for you? I know when I try to write something, sometimes I sit down at that computer and the idea is not there, and I have certain little things that I do, winding a certain clock, and I look up and I say, okay, now. And suddenly a sentence will come to me. How is it with songwriting?
Oh, I just feel thankful. I've always seemed to be blessed with it. You know, I have certain things that I do also. You know, I think just being present for it, just going to the office or going to grab my guitar and sitting with it and playing chords that may strike some kind of melody or something. But I have a place I call the oven. Okay, I love to cook. You know.
Oh.
So, and I'm not real great at it, but I love it. But I have this place in my mind, my head, or my heart, or my spirit, or whatever that I call the oven. And if I have an idea like Looking for America or Lady of the Lake, you know, I'll write the title on a piece of paper, and that puts it in the oven. And then I just let it sit there, and sometimes things will start bubbling, and I'll grab my guitar and I'll start fooling with it, you know. So that's a place inside me that things simmer, and because I'm writing all the time, talking here, you know, with you and a couple of things that you said. I've already got maybe some ideas that I can work on a little bit, but you know, that's the deal. Life is full of inspiration. Common people say things all the time. I'll go to a place and travel to a place. I used to do like therapeutic joy rides, I call them. You know, save a little money off the side and take off to some place. Even if people are talking about the same things, they're saying it in different ways.
Of course,
and just the songs that I love the most come right out of conversation between people when the path between their hearts are clear. You know, and just
sometimes professional songwriters go too far past that.
Yeah. Well, you know, in Nashville. And probably in L.A. and New York, those are I keep mentioning those because they're the main hubs of music. You know, there's a lot of, you know, rules, you know, craft, and I love knowing about craft and knowing about some of the rules, you know, that make it more commercial or more. But I tell them, don't let I do like songwriting workshops with kids sometimes, sixth graders. A lot of times I'll do my Walk on the Mountain program with fourth graders, and then with sixth graders I'll do a songwriting workshop. And I tell them, don't put a song to death. You know, don't put an idea to death. Let it breathe. You know. And I tell the people in Nashville, I will rewrite anything you want me to rewrite, but if I start feeling like the heart's getting cut out of that song, that's it. I won't do it.
That's why I'm glad I'm not a novelist, because I can't imagine what I would do if I wrote that novel and it came back to me and got turned into a movie and there weren't 3 words left out of 30,000.
Yeah.
I don't. It's like
that must
I said,
be tough. It's out of your
it must
hands,
be
I guess.
Really, really tough. And I love the way you said that. If they take the heart out of it, then it's gone.
Yeah. I mean, what's worse than that? Having a song that you know, like you said. What about getting a song that you love so much rejected? You know. Well, once an artist takes your song, they can do anything they want to it. I mean, they can take a verse out. They were going to change the title of, which is fine, of the Jody Messina song. There's a line in there called "Got a heart like a rocket, I just gotta ride it." They wanted to change that so they could use that as the title of the album, but they decided to stay with "Burn." But you know, it's out of your hands. You know, so it's wonderful when an artist takes your song and just loves it and records it and keeps the energy in it. You know.
Isn't it fun, as we both said before, isn't it fun to try to inspire kids in school? I mean, I get the great satisfaction out of that because when I go to kids in school, I talk to them a lot about imagination. Mm-hmm. Because some of our kids today, as we started our interview here by saying the world moves way, way too fast sometimes. Mm-hmm. Some of these kids have had it really rough by the time they're in 4th grade or 5th grade or 6th grade. So I tell them how to use their imagination. Mm-hmm. And I teach teachers how to read to kids so that they can use their imagination. Mm-hmm. And don't you find that it's, when you look at those kids around you, those 25 or 30 kids, you look in their eye and you see they're getting what you're doing.
Yeah. Oh, there's nothing like it.
Isn't that neat?
Man, it gives me so much energy, and I just take so much away from my school programs that, you know, we've talked about Nashville a lot. I couldn't be in Nashville doing what I do if I didn't have the Adirondacks, if I didn't have this house and my aunt and friends like Charlie and these mountains and canoeing and stuff, and the children. The children give me so much that, you know, when I'm telling stories and I know I got them, you know, we're sharing this thing. It's like, you know, I've had kids kind of crawl up to me and touch my feet because it's like I think they want to make sure I'm not on TV or something, that I'm real, because they watch so much TV and there's so much media that it's like they're seeing the story in their head, so they want to make sure that something is tangible.
So
about it.
much fun to do it directly.
Oh,
So
yeah.
the stuff isn't processed before it gets there.
Exactly.
I have nothing against television or any of the other medium, but to do it
Go
one-on-one
Go
and to
direct.
see that they get it, and as you said, have a kid come up and touch your leg.
Yeah, just to make sure I'm.
I went to a school and I write ghost stories, so I said
Okay.
said to the class, has anybody ever seen a ghost? And this little girl in the front looked at me. She said, I got one under my bed.
That's great.
But you know, at that point,
Yeah.
you got him. So that's, where I like to paint the whole picture here, and you're a complicated guy, but you like to feel as though it's simple, don't you?
Oh, I love simple stuff. Just the relationship between people, like you say, going direct. It's important to go one-on-one. I tell teachers now when they ask me to do school programs, I don't do full school assemblies. I'm too far away. I mean, I like the performance
I feel
stuff,
exactly the same.
yeah, I like getting in the classroom, 25, 50, even 100 kids in a library. It's great, but let's get close so I can get down and I can talk to them and they can feel like they've spent time with someone.
Let's talk about the nickname. You haven't mentioned it much here. Do you use that in Nashville, or is that just a local thing?
No, that's kind of a local thing I've been trying to get rid of for years, actually.
you
and
really?
Can't seem to get rid of it.
Because when I first heard of you, it was Pancho.
Yeah. Well, it's a nickname I was given when I was a baby. And-
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought that was something in your
No.
professional life.
No, just, a lot of nicknames in North Country families, and just kind of stuck. And I will always be 12 in this household, my aunt.
Well, that's probably a good thing. That's
Yeah, it
probably
is a good thing. And I will always be Pancho here, but every now and then I'll be in Nashville and I'll get a phone call and they'll call up and say, someone on the phone for you. And I'll say, hello. They say, this Pancho? This is whoever, So I know it's someone from the North Country,
So it's not something you attach to any of your other professional stuff down there at all?
Not really. When I decided to try to take the step to bring my music national, on whatever level, I needed to be more professional and with it. And I just think that wasn't. I don't. It's not a negative thing, but I just think.
But it was good at the
Roy
time.
Hurd, yeah.
It was like
Yeah.
me on the radio. I got an email last night, right out of the blue from somewhere in Missouri or somewhere. The lady says, hi, Gordy Little, who's he? Because that's what I called myself on the radio, and it's something I haven't even thought about or used since I left the business in 1997.
That's great.
So, like I said, it seemed like a good idea at the time.
Yeah. Well, it's been great, and people still call me that here, but down there, nah, not really.
So now you've done how many albums down there?
Well, I have 3 cassettes I did before CDs were invented, and they're all out of print. I've done 2. I actually have some I'm sending out. These 2 here.
Good. Can I let me look at them?
I have Forever Wild is about 4 years old. This one's about 4 years old.
Okay.
And Mountain Thunder is 2 years old.
Okay.
This one is, there's a long-haired fellow on the front. I don't know who that is, but they just used this picture with that wolf. And then this
You
one.
gotta love it.
This one here. So these I'm actually mailing these out to try to get some work up in Blue Mountain Lake at the Adirondack Lakes Center for the Arts. I'm going to try to get some work there.
The Adirondack Museum in Blue Mountain Lake is one of my favorite places on the face of the earth. It's, for those of you watching this program who've never been there, go there. Calvin and I did a show there maybe 3 years ago now, maybe 4 years ago now, and it's changed a lot since then. But it's unique among all the museums in the world because it's about our Adirondack region. One more question, and then we'll get another song out of you before we leave here. And I asked you this question, and it dawned on me that with this wonderful music you write, maybe, just maybe, somebody's doing a movie that might like one of your songs. And you said before the camera started, close but no cigar.
Close but no cigar. Warner, of course, Time Warner Brothers, they were all locked in with that kind of stuff, and it could happen. One time I wrote a song with a friend of mine in Nashville called Geronimo, and it got taken for that movie that Wes Stubbe and what's the guy's name? Robert Duvall. It's a really great movie. The woman had it all lined up for us, and then, I mean, as fate has it, she passed away. Our connection.
Lord.
Yeah, it's like, how can that happen? So.
Bad timing.
Yeah. So, some things happen, some things don't. It was right to the end, and then she passed away, and my friend called me and said, well, here's our luck. Check it out, you know. But I was sad to hear that she passed. But the song never did make it through the loop to the person it needed to get to for the next step, you know.
That would be nice, though, wouldn't it?
Oh, it'd be wonderful. You know, there's some songs I love that aspect of hearing a song that goes to the theme of a movie, and yeah.
So now let's talk about, you know, we've talked a little bit about the past. Are there any chapters that we've missed that you can think of, your life up to this present time, that something you'd like to have our audience know about, things that you've done that were fun?
Oh, that were fun, good, because there's certain things I can't say. I'd have to kill people after that.
Your aunt grabbed her paintbrush and headed back out on the porch up there.
Get my aunt in here. I want to get it. This is my aunt. She's so beautiful.
Hear us.
She's good to me.
Isn't that beautiful? How are you today?
Very good.
Thank you for letting us invade your home. I was watching you paint out there. You got a pretty good stroke, you know.
Got that swipe. I just stay out of the way, you know.
You don't help me.
That's one way of saying I don't help her.
I love your home up here.
Thank you.
We're so glad that you allowed us to come up here today and interrupt your paint job
She's wonderful.
to come
I
in
just got
here.
home anyway. Didn't matter.
Oh, it did?
Just go home.
Thank you so much for being here. You're a tremendous lady, and we're going to get to know you a whole lot better. Any other fun things? Any other places you've been or special people you've met that had an impact on your life? I like to, in writing a weekly newspaper column, it forces me to remember the people who've been nice to me, because you have to go back there, and sometimes when you're as old as I am, there's cobwebs in those archives, and you have to push them out of the way. But it's nice to go back and think of those people who've impressed you and those places you've been that were very, very important to you. And when you get older, it becomes a part of your fabric, but that's nice to go back and say, yeah, I was there once, and I was very impressed by such and such a person. Any of those that come to mind?
Well, I think we've touched on the most important ones. You know, the Faddens are there for me. You know, my aunt being here. My aunt's, you know, I was raised by my grandparents in this house, and they raised me and my sister. And then my aunt was here raising her two daughters, and my grandparents were raising another one of their daughters. And so my grandparents are very much still with me in my mind, you know, though they passed on a long time. The Faddens have been wonderful. And through the Faddens, I've met people like Tom Porter, who I mean, I could talk about Tom Porter for days.
Quite a guy.
He has a little community down there in Fonda, New York, and I went with Tommy. At one point in my life, I really needed strength and clarity, like we were talking about, you know, to help other people, and actually to help myself so I could be better to help other people. And Tommy agreed to help me do this thing, and so I did a vision quest, and he helped me do that. 4 days, 4 nights, no food, no water, in an 8-foot circle on the mountain behind his community. And so that
Talk about tradition.
I was honored to be able to do that, and it helped me so much in my life to clarify. And you know how some things in your life are in your way. You can't seem to get around them. You can't go over them. You can't get under them, you know. And so
So you
Tommy,
have to back up.
yeah, you got to back up, take a close look, and Tommy helped me do that. And so Tom Porter is, you know, I can't even say with words how like the Faddens have been for me, and friends like Charlie that I grew up with, and we're still hanging and we're still sharing, you know, and we're still loving each other, and have a lot of history, and my aunt and this town, and
You know, and when you stop to think about it, most of the best friends I've had in my lifetime were not people who were rich and famous. They were people who just were people.
oh man, I mean I get the contrast of that in Nashville. I mean you're
So
rubbing
much-
shoulders with everybody that's
Yeah.
and
I'm not
somebody.
knocking Nashville, but there's so much BS.
Oh, media is
You know, you
I
got
mean-
15 layers of paint to get through before you see the grain.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. You know, that's why I just love songwriters. You know, songwriters are the heroes to me down there. You know, they get up and they go to work every day and they write the songs and they try to be inspired and they get them and the artists take the songs and you know and they get all. And it's not. I mean, it's glamorous from the outside, but I've hung with the artists. I was on the road with Paul Brandt and his bus for a few days, and it ain't pretty, man. It sounds romantic and it feels romantic from the outside, but you get on the bus and you travel all night and you go to the hotel and you sleep till the sound check, and then you get the sound check and you get the catered meal, of course, and then you do the meet and greet and you meet everybody, and then you do the concert and you go back to the motel and you sleep until 2 in the morning, then you get on the bus and sleep the rest of the time while the bus driver gets you to the. It's, you know, it's hard. I admire all of them, but the media, the business it's not.
It can,
real.
It
It's
can
not
chew you up
yeah,
and
it's not
spit
really
you
real.
out unless you got a place to go. When you were just talking, I was reminded of a recent concert I saw at the Malone Fair this year with Tanya Tucker.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, at the last minute, nobody was quite sure if she was going to make it for her 5 o'clock show. She came in with her beautiful little 2-year-old daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And she alluded to what's been happening to her lately this summer. You know, the bus broke down in Cleveland. My agent booked me in New Orleans.
Yeah.
Doesn't he have a map? Is he throwing darts at that map? And, you know,
Yeah, you got to get
But-
there to. You can't get
you
from
gotta
there to
get
here.
there, and it's 95 degrees, and it's not supposed to be that hot in Malone, New York. And yet, when the music starts, no matter where you've been or how many flat tires you had,
That's what it's
you're
all
doing
about.
your thing, and that's what it's all about.
Getting
And
to the
boy,
stage.
that audience did respond.
She is one of my favorites. I mean, her voice, you know, that's what I love about certain artists have a certain voice, like Waylon Jennings, you know, Waylon Jennings comes on, that's Waylon, man, you know, Tanya Tucker. I love distinct voices, you know. There's a lot of cookie cutter kind of, these guys sound the same, these girls sound the same, but, and I love them all and I admire them all because it takes a lot to get from here to there. I mean, the sacrifices and the work and it's unbelievable, you know.
That's why I like to watch performers when they do a song to thank the guy or the gal who wrote the song.
Yeah, I love that, of course.
Well, I do too, very much so, because that's where it started. I mean, that came,
Yeah.
that creativity and that inspiration we talked about started with somebody's fingers writing that music down or humming it behind a guitar or piano.
Exactly.
So that's really, really important. All right. I think we've covered his entire life to this moment. I will hear another song, and then we're going to talk about the future. What would you like to do?
Let me do my hometown song.
I love it.
All right. This is, of course, my friend Charlie has a niece named Missy, and her her son Stephen. Stephen's my cousin, actually. We figured out how everybody in Redford's related.
Well, of course.
So we're all cousins.
So it's okay if we all stop over for dinner.
Yeah, it's a
right?
mountain film. Stephen and Missy were in the graveyard looking for Liz Terry's grave. Liz Terry is Missy's grandmother. Died a long time ago, and Liz Terry was a wonderful woman in my life, just really supportive, and just her children were my best friends. I spent a lot of time up there. So Stephen looks over and goes, "Hey, that's Pancho's last name over there." And so he saw the gravestone with my grandfather, John Hurd, and Virginia Hurd on there, you know, and that's my grandparents who raised me in this house, and my sisters and sister cousins, and you know. And so I was thinking about people passing on, and how my daughter is so beautiful, and they never had a chance to know her, and she never had a chance to know them. And you know how things happen when people pass on after years and years. You like forget how they sounded and their laughter, and it's a sad part of it. They're always with me, but. You know, the time passing and people that have passed on that brought you up and that supported you. And so I love this little town. You know, I love that I can ride around and I can see I can see myself doing something at 8 and 12, and you know, and the people are still here, and you know, they know me and they still love me. You know. May not look like much, barely a dot on a map. It's where I grew up, and I'm proud of that. My own private piece of America, my hometown. It was a perfect place for a kid like me. Plenty of room for running wild and free. Sure made some memories in my hometown. You love it so much you think you'll always stay. You never really know until you go away. Just how deep your roots go down. A family tree on sacred ground. It will always be a part of me. Every road that I go down. Right here in my heart, my hometown. Well, there's that old ball field where I mostly missed. And that porch right there's where I got my first kiss. Life had a tough tenderness in my hometown. Yeah, we took our chances and had no fear. As we burned up those nights in our teenage years, the radio sang just for my friends and me in my hometown. Oh, you love it so much you think you'll always stay. You never really know until you go away. Just how deep your roots go down, a family tree on sacred ground. It will always be a part of me, every road that I go down. Right here in my heart, my hometown. There's a cold gray stone on a soft green hill, bears my family name, I miss them still, but they live forever in the memory of my hometown. Oh, you love them so much you think they'll always stay. You never really know until they go away. Just how deep their roots go down, a family tree on sacred ground. You love it so much you think you'll always stay, but you never really know until you go away. But just how deep your roots go down, a family tree on sacred ground. It will always be a part of me, every road that I go down. Right here in my heart, my hometown, my hometown. Yeah, this is my hometown.
Oh, boy. And it applies to this hometown, too.
Yeah, that's it.
A lot of hometown songs have been written, but that's one of the best I've ever heard.
Oh, thank you.
How many guitars do you have?
Two, actually. This is an Irish guitar. It was built in, hand-built in Belfast, Ireland. It's called
No kidding.
a Loudon. Of course, my southern friends say, that is a Loudon. It's a southern joke. But Loudon, it's a beautiful crafted guitar, and I love it. I actually have a Martin in the other room that my daughter's mom, when we first got together, she knew I loved those, and she gifted me with that, and I keep it with me. My daughter plays guitar, and I'll give it to her someday. You know, but
So this is mostly the one you use?
this is the one I play out. My Martin is it's been with me so many years, all the years of playing the monopole and playing the road and it's all, it's been beat up, but it's a beautiful guitar and it still sounds great, and I just kind of keep it home and not bang it around too much.
That's great. What dawns on me here as we're getting ready to wrap up our program, that we haven't talked as much about the storytelling as we have about the writing the music. You really like that part, too.
Oh, I love
What
that.
kinds of stories do you tell?
Well, when I do my storytelling programs, I do a lot of Native American stories that Ray and John have shared with me. I also do Adirondack stuff, Bill Smith is a great inspiration for that.
Well,
Bill's great. Probably one of my favorites to do is a story that I do backwards. My grandma told me bedtime stories backwards,
Oh, come on.
Yeah,
Isn't
yeah,
that neat?
Instead of telling the story of the three little pigs, she'd tell me the story of the P little thrigs. Instead of telling me the story of Cinderella, she'd tell me the story of Rundasella.
Oh, isn't that
Yeah.
neat? Have you ever thought about recording the stories?
I have thought about it, and people are always saying I should do that. I have a bit of a hard time with that because the stories were told to me by people like Bill Smith, who does record those things, and the Faddens and stuff. It just doesn't feel right because it's their stories. They've given them to me to share. I feel, and I'm a good thief. I'll steal a story and tell it. But I would feel funny about selling it, taking it and selling it.
I think it's important to do what
Yeah.
feels right.
Mhm.
I had a friend in the radio business in New York City back in the 1960s who was a 50s and early 60s who was a great inspiration to me. And I said, well, why don't you record? He was a great storyteller as well as being a good radio announcer. I said, why don't you record those stories, or why don't you write them down in book form? And he never wrote anything down. He said, it just wouldn't feel right if I recorded it or wrote it down. There's stories other people gave me and so on. He would prefer when he went onto a college campus or to talk to little kids to just say whatever his heart told him to say.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the way he preferred to do it. And he always had to be creative
Yeah. Go with
because
the
he
moment.
never wrote it down.
Mhm.
So I think there's a lot to be said for doing what feels right
Yeah.
now.
No, you gotta do what
And
feels
there's
right.
a certain moral and ethic that's built into you because of your good, strong Redford stock.
Well, I'm not against stealing a story, so I don't know how strong that moral is, but
I mean,
I want.
there comes a point where you're in Nashville, we have to do what feels right.
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely. You know.
And when push comes to shove, you'd probably walk out of a situation if it felt really, really bad.
Hmm. I would try. I hope I would. I would try to. I mean, you have to trust yourself. There have been times in my life, and I talked to my daughter about this, where we as people we self-abandon. You know, we do things that we know are not right or that don't feel right to us because of pressure or whatever. And it's a really. I told her. I said I made some really bad mistakes in my life, some bad choices. And it's
As we
taken-
all have.
And it's taken,
We don't have to dwell on that
No,
too
no.
long, but it does
No,
take you long.
but it takes you a long time to come back to yourself. A long time to after you self-abandon, after you deny, you know, what you know feels right. It's a long walk back, you know, to
Yeah.
yourself. And I won't sacrifice that now
You've
for
got to be
anybody.
true to yourself. Well, we've covered a lot of ground, solved a lot of the world's major problems today.
appreciate your time.
But how about the future? What? I mean, you told me about things you'd like to have happen while we're
Yeah.
sitting here. Obviously, didn't. But how about, you know, have you got a 2-year plan or a 5-year plan, or where do you want to be when you're, you know, 60 years old? Whatever.
Oh well, I'd love to be here. I'm definitely going to be here. I told myself I wouldn't be 50 in Nashville, but I'm fastly approaching. You know, another few months. So we'll see what happens there. You know, I'm just at this point just trying to. I'm playing my music. You know, for people. You know, here and semi-nationally. I'm doing my storytelling programs. I'm gearing up for that. I'm still open to Nashville. See what happens there. I'll pick away at Nashville from here. I'm actually living here now. You know, I moved back here this summer,
That's great.
and I would love to build a house on my land back here that I was raised on. I own 10 acres of this land back
Oh, that's
back here, and
It says a lot for the North Country when a guy like you, who's been a lot of places, would love to come back here.
oh,
and
this
make
is, you know, it's home. What can you say about home? But it's home. You know, it's in your heart. You carry it with you where you go.
So, but nothing really major jumps out at you like writing a book about all the things you.
Well, I actually am writing a book right now. It's a
I'm glad I brought that
it's
up.
a book on love. You know, it's a book.
How can it help
Because
it be?
I've had some tests and trials about that, and so I'm writing a book right now. It's actually
Anybody in the world that hasn't had some tests and
it's-
trials about that?
It's the cynic's approach to love in the
Oh.
book. It's called "Don't Jump for Joy Too Close to the Edge."
Oh, I love it.
So I'm doing that, and I have some dreams and stuff, but I'm just like right now I'm kind of, it's not limbo, but it's just taking a break from Nashville, regrouping my heart, my mind, to be a little stronger the next time I go there, you know.
But it's not a bad time to be where you are right now.
Oh
I
no,
mean,
it's
you
great.
know,
It's great to be, and this
part
is the
of
place to do
design,
it.
obviously.
Mhm.
Well, I know you'll be successful if you want to be, and I know you'll always be happy because you have the right ingredients going in.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks to who you are. I don't know where Charlie went, but thanks to Charlie and thanks to everything else, and we're going to wrap it up right here in just a moment. I know he's a humble guy. I know he doesn't want to blow his own horn, but this is some pretty neat stuff you got on this table here. How dare we try to wrap up the program without showing it to our audience? Tell us what we've got here. This is beautiful.
Well, like I said, I had a song on Paul Brandt's record. Paul was the first. I was the first writer they put Paul with when Warner Brothers brought him down from Canada, and the first song we wrote was called "Take It From Me," and that's the song. The album went gold, so Warner Brothers gave me a gold record. The song went double platinum in Canada, so Warner Brothers Canada sent me down this. And
Big time. Big
good stuff.
time. That's beautiful.
SOCAN is like in Canada is like BMI and ASCAP in the States, and "Take It From Me" was Country Music Award for "Take It From Me." It was the most played song in Canadian country radio in 1997, I think. So that went number one in Canada, that song. And then
That's great.
this is Jody Messina, the Burn CD, my song on there,
Of course.
and she sold gold in 30 days, 500,000 copies in 30 days. So Warner gave me a gold record on that.
Pretty darn special,
Pretty nice.
I would think. That's
Pretty
really, really nice. This is the dessert, right?
Well, you know, I rub shoulders with writers that are so great. They've got rooms full of these things. But I try to just celebrate and say thank you for, you know,
One day at a
what it
time.
is. Yeah.
One day at a time. Well, we're going to move over to the scrapbook, young lady. What, you want to be come on, you got to be our guide here. Somebody's got to tell us what's going on. You're the one that put this stuff,
No,
you're the
not
one that put the
really.
glue on it?
No.
We're just looking for clippings. Come on over. Poncho plays up Adirondack heritage. Nice. Little mustache.
I don't know who that guy is.
Looks like a little bit like Sonny Bono, right? Just a little
A
bit.
little more cleaned up here, yeah.
Look at this one. How old were you here?
Oh, I don't know. I
Yes,
think my
you
daughter
do.
was 5, 6 or 7 or
baby.
something like that. This one, I remember this. I think that was in Tupper Lake, where actually the next set I had to wear gloves and then cut the fingers off the gloves because I think it was started to snow. It was Oktoberfest.
Come on.
I think so.
Oh,
I don't know if that's the exact
well,
one.
let's just go through it. Anything you want to talk about as we look at these, let me know.
Well, this is when I did my first recording, I guess. I didn't keep this. I guess my daughter's mom started it, like my aunt said, and then my aunt's kind of been carrying it on. But there's no, I don't think there's any succession to it. It's just, this used to be a poster I used years ago, and
Who did the artwork?
a woman that I used to work with, and I can't remember her last name. A woman named Annie did
really
it,
quite
drew it
nice,
up for
you
me.
know.
It's beautiful. I love the moon, the sea.
Do you do any drawing?
No,
Any?
no, not at all.
Well, John and Ray, unbelievable. But John's what an artist.
Oh, you ever see John's sons, David's?
No.
Oh,
we
David.
saw some of the stuff
Yeah.
that he did when we were up there.
David's outrageous.
He insists that David's better than he was.
So this one, when I put my first solo tape out, it was called Poncho, and it was in 1985, I think.
Well, we're looking at the names of some of the reporters who were at the Press Republican way back when. All right, what do we got here?
Oh, Frank Orsini and I play a lot. This is actually a more recent thing. Like I said, it's not in order. Frank Orsini is a great fiddler from Glens Falls, and
Yeah.
comes up and we do our thing together. And I don't remember what this is. The El Dorado Hotel. Who knows?
Friday's Attitude Adjustment.
That's me.
I love it. I don't know what year that would have been, do you?
I don't know. I know I played the monopole for years and years and
Oh,
years down
gosh.
there. Oh, the Office Bar with Vassar Clements. I opened for Vassar.
My. That's you're bringing back memories for me here.
Mm-hmm.
Great stuff.
Old in a way. That's I was up in. I do a song called "Whisper for Help" about running into this aggressive woman in Rouse's Point, New York. You know, when you run into an aggressive woman, you have to give them a half-hour stop. Then you whisper for help. You see, it's an Adirondack concept.
Oh, God.
That's old in a way. I used to play that. This is Ann Smith. You remember Ann?
Oh,
Ann and I invited Ann up to do a song with me.
I haven't seen Ann in a
Courier.
long time. Wow, that's great. And The Office?
Monopole.
And the Monopole, of course.
I played there 15 years as a solo in the month.
Did you really?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Once or twice a month.
Adirondack Original in concert at Java Jive.
Java Jive Coffee House, Saranac Lake.
Oh, my.
That was always a really nice place to play.
And as we're recording this, I heard somewhere, saw it in the paper, that Hava Java might be closing in downtown Plattsburgh. Once we had like 4 coffee houses, and pretty soon it's going to be down to 1 again. There's a lot to be said for places like that, for doing the things that you do, and for
Yeah.
reading poetry, and
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like
just
that.
for having a cup and talking to people.
I performed there a couple times. It's really nice there.
Yeah.
Sal DeTroy, I did a gig with Sal DeTroy there.
Well,
one
there
time.
you go. 21 years ago. Summer Camp
1980.
Award, boy.
Oh, yeah.
Which Libby would this be, I wonder?
Libby Oakham.
Libby's a buddy of mine.
Yeah, she's a
For
great
a
lady.
long time, and I don't mind saying that she's a wonderful person at counseling. She's just been a great gal. Your aunt recounted the story about how our oldest son and his wife were killed and how we raised their kids. And Libby was wonderful for us when that happened in 1988 because she lost
She'd been
her
through
own
that.
parents
And was
when
raised.
she was 15 years old. So she's a pretty neat lady, and I don't mind saying as long as we're promoting her, and I hope she sees this and gets tremendously embarrassed because she's also a great lover of the outdoors.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Always canoeing and hiking.
I've been in a canoe with her before and on
Yeah.
a trailer too. She's
Yeah.
wonderful.
Doesn't sound like it was too bad an
No,
experience.
no, I forced myself. but-
Yeah, Libby's a neat lady. She found, I guess she wouldn't mind me saying this, I hope, she found some ancient reel-to-reel tapes And some of them she believes have her father's voice on.
Oh, she told me about that.
And here she is, she can't remember what her dad's voice sounded like. You were
It's
talking
like I was
about that a
saying.
while ago. So I'm trying to copy these because they were done at a speed where tape recorders aren't made anymore, and I'm getting two of my old ancient recorders together. Little by little, I'm making copies of these tapes for her.
Nice.
So that'll be a kind of a nice experience.
Wonderful.
Okay. Hey, wait a minute.
This guy Robert Hunter wrote a lot of songs for Grateful Dead. Friend of the Devil, Ripple, all those.
Oh, yeah.
And there was a place in, I guess it was in Massachusetts. What is it, like Northampton, called Hangar One. It was like the place down here, Ground Zero. It was a Quonset hut with a plane crashing into the roof. And they brought Robert Hunter in from the Sierra Madres, in I think that's California. And had this guy, John Coster, who was from the Berkshires, and then me from the Adirondack. So the three of us were doing solo things in this Hangar One. So Coster and I opened for Robert Hunter.
That's pretty neat.
Just as solos,
Yeah.
Three mountains come together
That's
kind of
great.
thing.
And I don't know what else. Those are all
Most of
empty
the stuff
pages.
that hasn't been put in, What is this?
Oh, happy birthday. Isn't that neat?
Jesse Terry.
Oh, my.
Lives up
my,
the street
my.
here.
Yep.
Just little stuff. Frank Orsini and I performing. Aztec Two-Step, I open for those guys. Oh, here we go, before and
Are
after.
you a saver? Do you save?
Sometimes, I get a lot of stuff from kids and stuff, and sometimes I'll save it, sometimes I won't. I read it all, but...
Many times I do.
Yeah, does that.
I love to draw, and when I show kids my drawings, and they get their class together and do similar drawings and then send them to me.
Oh, that's
Those are
great. Priceless.
big
Precious.
treasures for me. Well, that's wonderful. Now, you told me that we were just, Calvin said a minute ago, how about the 15th of Redford?
Oh, yeah.
And it dawns on us as we're recording this on the 8th day of August 2001. 15th of Redford's coming up pretty soon.
Yeah.
For those people who may be viewing this program and may not be familiar with the 15th of Redford, shame on you. It's been famous here for a long, long time with the oldest working merry-go-round in the world. They finally got it under a roof a few years
Yeah.
ago. And I hear the old-timers with wonderful memories about the 15th of Redford. They go back to the early part of the 20th century.
Yeah, I've heard some of the stories.
And here we are in the 21st century with more technology than you can dream every day, and people are still going to the 15th of Redford. And you got a song about it.
Let me grab my guitar.
So get that guitar, and we'll sit down and listen to a little song about the 15th of Redford. And we're going to end with that. We're going to do something a little bit different than we usually do. Before the song, I'm going to say, who knows where we'll be next time for our little corner. And we're going to just have you relax and find out how delicious the music is of Roy Hurd. And before you even begin, I just want to give you my personal thanks for allowing us to come up here,
Oh, well, thank you
for meeting you and being a little part of your life.
Oh, it's an honor to have you guys come here.
Thank you so much. And please stay in touch with us and let us know where you go when you turn left out of that driveway. All right.
Well, I'll tell you what you can do. You can sing this with me. I'll teach you the chorus.
You can forget that too.
Okay, no go? Well, by the time it comes around, you may know it. Let's see. It's the 15th of August. That's a Redford picnic day. They build them booths up by the church. For nickel games we play. Get free rides the night before on that old merry-go-round. They'd bring Pete Maggie's tractor up and they'd spin that thing around. It's memories of a child from a little mountain town. Life is just like a ride, I guess, on that old merry-go-round. Well, I'd listen, though I was only 10, while Dutch Terry sang his gospel song. Then my grandfather'd ring that big church bell. I could tell wouldn't be long. Me and my friends, we'd run outside, and we'd lay our money down, when it was just a dime to stand in line for that old merry-go-round. It's memories of a child from a little mountain town. Life is just like a ride, I guess, on that old merry-go-round. At the spin of a wheel, I'd win an apple pie. I'd hear a square dance, do-si-do. Now the kids, they look just like their parents did 35 years ago. I see old familiar faces. They still come from miles around, and I can see my daughter smile and wave from that old merry-go-round. It's memories of a child from a little mountain town. Life is just like a ride, I guess, on that old merry-go-round. Life is just like a ride, I guess, on that old merry